told the teacher at church, we said, when she told us about Lazarus, Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, we said, well, we can bring things back to life too. She thought we were being sacrilegious. She got so ticked off at us. Well, she never did get to see a miracle performed. That if she had been nicer to us, we could have shown her a miracle. But
wow.
But we had watermelon stands and the greatest one, I don't know if you have time for another story or not.
Yeah, I do. And you know what I want to ask you as a grown man, after you went through this amazing childhood and your teen years, what was your most triumphant success as a grown man?
Well, I think that it was some of it in my young years. I was very happy that I got into art, and I started taking art classes. My mother bought me an easel when I was just very young, and she had to save up for that. We went all the way to Little Rock to get the easel, and my dad got some old green canvas shades from the attic, and we stretched them over a board for the canvas, and someone gave me some old oil paints, and I started painting, and so we started doing that. Then as I got into, I decided, well, I should go back and say, one thing that my mother made me promise her was that I would finish high school, which I did, and graduated by president of my senior class.
Oh, wow.
In Madison, Tennessee. It was not a big academy. It was a smaller academy. And then I was married, and we went up to live actually in the hills of Tennessee, the mountains of Tennessee, above Dayton, Tennessee, at a self-supporting school, 5 years between high school and college. But I remember my mother telling me one time, I want you to go to one of them there colleges, she said. I'm pretty sure they'll have art there. And so I did. And then I went on and into teaching college and got a master's degree, and then later on got my doctorate. And my mother came out of graduation, and she said, now, Clyde, she always called me Clyde. She said, now, Clyde, can you write prescriptions for me now? And I said, oh, no, Mama, I can't write prescriptions. She said, now, why would you have gone to school all those years to be a doctor and not be able to write a prescription? I said, Mama, I don't think I can explain that to you. Yeah. And I couldn't. But then I went on to be the director of an art school for the last 20 years of my career. And now I'm retired and starting all over again with all kinds of fun things.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm right with you. Now, were you the only one in your family to get a college degree and become a doctor?
Yeah, yes, I was the only one to even, darken the doorway of a college. My two sisters ahead of me, 8 and 10 years older, they each finished high school. Neither one of them went to college. But coming a little bit later, I was determined to go to school. I want to get out of Arkansas, where we had the bauxite mines, and a lot of the people worked in those, and I didn't want to have that. And so I was just determined, and I started going to school. In order to go to school, after I was up on the mountain at the school up there, I started working for my former father-in-law. He had a big dairy, and I milked 125 Holsteins every morning at 4 in the morning, and I milked 125 Holsteins every night at 4 o'clock in the evening. And that way I got to go to school all during the day.
Oh, my gosh.
And
wow.
So, yeah.
We went to Norway, and we visited my husband's family, and his cousin there had a dairy farm in Tengesdal, Norway. And, oh, my gosh, that is a tough life. They were up like at 4 in the morning milking cows, and then they were milking them all day. And that's the real world, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And, the cows never take a break. They are producers 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so you have to milk your cows every day, whether it's, whether it's Christmas or not.
Oh, yeah. There's no holidays there.
That's right. Exactly right.
There's not even weekends. It's
there's
amazing.
not. I must say I got tired of looking at a cow by the time I finished, and I was ready to go off and teach college.
And then all the cow excrement. That's kind of what blew my mind.
Oh,
and
yes.
I thought the cow farm was bad. Then we got to go down to visit our other cousins in Norway who had the pig farm.
That's smellier.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we raised one pig, and that was enough for us.
Yeah. The pig farm was probably the worst. That was something I'll never forget. Yeah. Okay, so now I love what you're doing. And your book is done and published. So now you're going to work on doing a podcast, which I'm thrilled to hear. And are you writing another book, or?
Well, you know what? People are asking me some kids read my book, my memoirs, and they say, and some of the parents have said, why don't you rewrite some of these stories for like 8 to 9, 10-year-old kids? And so I've been thinking kind of about that. But another thing I really want to do, my mama, I always called her my mama. My mama was, a cook. She didn't really have any recipes written out that I ever saw, but she made all kinds of wonderful gravy. went over our biscuits. She made biscuits every day of the year except Christmas morning. She did not make biscuits Christmas. I think she thought Santa should bring them or make them, but he didn't. But she and she had fried okra and fried potatoes, and and we ate collard greens and we ate turnip greens. And so I'm thinking about actually on the podcast sometime talking about this and talking about that. I would like to have people send me their mama's simple recipes and maybe put that into a book. Yeah,
and that would be fun because I had a grandma who came from Poland, and she never had a recipe or a book. She would just get in the kitchen and freestyle.
Yes. Yes. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Throw in a few things. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fun. And you could what did you call your grandmother? Grandma or?
Well, you know what? All my grandparents were dead before I was born because keep in mind, my dad was 60. My mother was 40. And in those days, my dad was born 15 years after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Can you believe that?
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
Amazing?
He was 20 years older than your mother.
Yes.
That's got to be a whole story. Did you write about that in your book?
Oh, I haven't, but I've got so many stories I could write. I just don't have time because I'm monkeying with all these other things. And you know what? I'm always having fun. My wife and I are both very creative, and we both do photography shows together. And, well, she is taking writing classes right now. And
good.
And then I want to also on my podcast, I want to encourage memoir writing and talk to people about that because I read a little book a number of years ago. Sandra Cisneros wrote a book called House on Mango Street, and then another person that really impressed me was Bailey White, and she has one called Mama Makes Up Her Mind. She's been on NPR a lot, and this whole thing of process of self-discovery. And so anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting topic, and we're going to touch on it in our closing segment, memoir writing. I have 3 daughters who are begging me to take a year off from work and to actually sit down and write my memoir. It's difficult. It can be painful, can it?
Yes, it can, I think. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, so whenever you're ready.
Okay. So. We're going to take a break, and we're going to hear from our wonderful sponsors, and we'll be right back with Clyde.
All right.
Are you living the life you always wanted? Is your relationship fulfilling or a constant roller coaster ride? Do you know how to chart your own path? If you are sick of struggling, overwhelmed, stressed, but desire balance, emotional freedom, and a purposeful life, then it's time to try something that really works. Dr. Casey's unique result-oriented emotional mastery technique will teach you how to be your own therapist while empowering you to be your best. Learn more at drsimoncasey.com. That's drsimoncasey.com. From cowgirl to caregiver to consultant, meet Becky Fiola, author of The Elder Care Consultant, your guide to making the best choices possible. Growing up on remote ranches across the western states, she tended to orphan creatures large and small. Later on, that nurturing instinct served her well as the primary caregiver for her late husband. And now she offers hope and guidance as a consultant to the elderly and their families. When you need advice on caring for an aging loved one, you can find those answers and her book at Amazon.com and her website, www.assistedlivingadvantage.com. Do you want to learn how to live into your dreams? One Door Closes, Overcoming Adversity by Following Your Dreams. The new book by Tom Ingracia and Jared Kredemski captures the thought-provoking stories of 16 people from all walks of life who have triumphed over adversity to achieve their goals. Plus, you'll get 10 self-assessment tools to design your own blueprint for success. Unlock your true potential. Fulfill your dreams. Be inspired. One Door Closes is available from Amazon.com.
January Jones wants you to grow your business fast, getting free PR, doing interviews with podcasters and internet radio shows. Grab your free copy of our audio how-to course called How to Build Your Business, get more email subscribers, and make more money free doing podcast and internet talk radio interviews. Grab your copy right now at realfasttalkradio.com. Again, that website is realfasttalkradio.com.
Well, welcome fast, real fast success stories, and we're with one of our most amazing success stories, Clyde McCulley. It's been so much fun having you on the show, Clyde.
Oh, now, thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about when you look back on your life. Do you have any regrets or things you wish you could do over?
Well, I really am a person that has never had regrets. I say that sincerely. I never dwell on that or think about it. I just try to keep kind of plugging ahead. I don't feel there's been any failures that I know of. I have two beautiful children, and I'm happily married, and I've always tried to see the glass as half full, not half empty. And I think that's kind of an important part. And when I started writing this book, I was trying to think all this. You mentioned that your daughters wanted you to write. Well, my kids wanted me to write, and
did they? Yeah.
Yeah, they kept saying, "Daddy, tell some of these stories to it, into recording or something that you've done." And then my siblings had died, and then Kenny, who I grew up with, my nephew, who was 3 years younger than me, he died a couple of years ago, and that really motivated me to sit down and write these stories, because I dedicated the book to him. And
wonderful. I'm curious, since I'm looking at this project myself, how long did it actually take you to write the book?
It took me probably a year and a half, off and on. I took a writing class from a wonderful woman named Ann Kimmage, and Dr. Kimmage used to teach at the State University of New York in writing, and she lives near here now. And I asked her if she would tutor me some, so I would go up and spend an hour, 2 hours a week with her, and she would go over my stuff that I was writing. I wrote it in little vignettes, though. They're all little stories. Great toilet reading, really, because you can take that, when you got to go in there and spend a few minutes, it gives you can read a nice little story and leave it there. And when you go back, you can do it again. And you don't have to try to remember where you were. You can open the book anywhere and start writing. And that's kind of one of the ideas I had when I wrote it that way.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did with Thou Shalt Not Whine. I made it so that you can read it in the doctor's office, you can read it in the bathroom, you can read it while you're standing in line, just short little stories. Is your wife writing her memoirs?
She's not writing her memoirs yet. She has been doing some writing, though. She has just had to move her mother from a facility in Florida up to Michigan. My wife's from Michigan as well, from Ann Arbor. Yeah, another Michigander. Go Blue or whatever you guys say, go Blue or something like that.
Yeah.
And so she has just been writing about that experience, and she really wrote a great piece today. So she writes too, and yes, I want to encourage her sometime to do a memoir. People should write about their lives, because if you don't, nobody else knows. Nobody else knows.
Yeah. We had a family reunion this year with my husband's family, and his father was born in Norway, and he actually wrote his life story that we were able to share with all the nieces and nephews. And what a gift. What a gift it is.
Isn't it? I've been so happy about my nephews and nieces writing to me and saying, Uncle Clyde, it's so nice that you've written this because, there's so many things we didn't know about and so forth. And